Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight we want to introduce to you a new archangel, and that is Angel Zadkiel. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and if you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, or even constructive criticism, drop it in the comments down below. Let's get started. So, the angel named Zadkiel is interpreted as being the angel of God's blessing. And if you like this type of stuff, I try to go over if they have different correspondence ways to work with the angel, making it a little bit more accessible if you like that kind of work. So we'll start with that. And Thursday is his primary day. Planetary alignments are Jupiter and the zodiac of Pisces and Sagittarius. Interesting combination. Element of air. The colors generally associated with Zadkiel are very pastel sky blues, the gentle blues, not intense at all, always very soothing and very comforting shades and colors. The general crystals that and stones, if you prefer to work with those, are any of the basic angel ones, which are agates and quartz. Any of the blue crystals, you don't have to know the names. Trust me, you don't. It helps, but it's not necessary. Celestite, chalcedony blue howlite, lapis lazuli, which is an amazingly beautiful stone. It's blue white with little specks of gold through it. It's a very intense meditation stone as well. So, and that one makes a lot more sense when we get a little bit further into Zadkiel here. Blue quartz, which is not as common as you might think. Sapphire and turquoise. Metals, if you choose to work with metals or to have your crystals or stones set in metal, tin or zinc are your best options. Zinc is a little bit touchy, but tin is pretty common. So some people don't do well with zinc on their skin. So that's the reason I say that. You can use plants like arnica, which is a healing herb. Bergamot, borage, which is a very fun blue plant. And it's super easy to grow. Literally, you put seeds in the soil, put water on it, and you're gonna have blooms from a borage. They're very friendly to grow. Cedarwood, frankincense, ginseng, and this one I thought was pretty cool because it's a very gentle, soothing herb. When you first start working with herbal energy, so to speak, a lot of the times they'll recommend using Melissa or lemon balm, same thing, just different names, because of its exceptionally gentle nature. You can also use neroli or orange blossom, which is a very refreshing and vibrant smell, nutmeg, rosemary, sage, and this one is a unique fragrance. I've used it a few times for different purposes, and I can say it is an exceptionally floral fragrance. It is not for everybody. By itself, it's almost overbearing, and that is ylang ylang. So if you use that one, heads up, it's a little on the strong side. Okay, not a little, it's really strong. When you work with Zadkiel, you can generally start to feel him in the upper chakra energy. The crown chakra is his primary associated chakra. On the Tree of Life, the Sephira that he would be most likely associated with would be Chesed, which is the sphere of kindness and gentleness. So again, going with that theme of kindness and gentleness. If you see him with a tool or a weapon in his hand, which is not always, it's not super common, but sometimes you'll see the angels carrying a specific object, and that's why you say tool or weapon. Because like Archangel Michael comes in with a big sword. His would be a white-handled dagger. If you study Wicca, it would be closer associated to the Bolin type weapon. So, Zadkiel is the angel of God's righteousness. He can be seen as one of the angels who stand before the throne of God. That puts him in an entirely different perspective than some of our other angels that we've talked about. There's a few of them that are up in that frequency, and he's one of those high frequency angels. Excuse me. He holds the soul of generosity, which I thought was an interesting way of phrasing it. So I dug into it a little bit more. What are people saying about him? How do you associate the generosity with the gentleness of Zadkiel? And it is commonly said that he celebrates your wins. So when things are going great for you, he is your number one cheerleader in the angel choir. You can hear him louder than some of the other ones. He loves to see us gain abundance. He loves to see us gain prosperity, whether it's love, whatever it is that we have our hopes, dreams, ambitions, and goals towards. Zadkiel wants us to achieve that. And it doesn't matter how big, how small. It could be just finishing your thesis if you're working on a doctorate. It could be finishing that family quilt that you've been doing for months, trying to get everything put together. It doesn't matter how big or how small the goal is. He wants to see you succeed. And that's kind of pretty cool when you think about it. He also can help you see your value in the eye of the Creator. He can help you see that it doesn't matter what you did, the Creator, God Source Divine, sees the good in you, and that you can let go of the guilt and the shame for the things that we've done. When we have those moments of regret means you know you did something wrong and you don't know how to fix it, which is understandable. Zadkiel can help you see the path through that. Or if you committed some kind of moral, ethical sin, however that manifests, and you've apologized, but you're still carrying the guilt. The other person's forgiven you, you're fine in that aspect. But to you, you're like, how can I be seen as valuable anymore? Zadkiel wants you to understand that it doesn't matter what you've done. It really doesn't. In the eyes of the Creator, as long as you're willing to release it, seek forgiveness from the other person, Zadkiel can help you see that the Creator does not condemn you for that. And even if you're not fully cleaned up the situation, the Creator's not going to condemn you for that purpose. If you're trying, you're making the attempt, you're working through the situation, Zadkiel wants you to understand that the Creator, God Source Divine, loves you and appreciates you and values you where you're at. So that can help us release. And I talk a lot in different videos, different readings about forgiving ourselves. When we forgive other people, like if we've done something and we ask forgiveness, they forgive us and everything settles down, we're good. But in the back of our minds, we're our own worst critic, of course. Zadkiel wants you to understand that that is not what God Source Divine feels. That's us holding on to guilt, shame, or fill in the blank negative energy that we don't need to be carrying. That's literally adding weight to your burden of life. For what purpose? Just because, if you're more guilty or you feel more shame, that doesn't make you better than anyone else. That was a really weird concept that we have been drilled into. But being honest, being humble, being willing to release the past, seeking forgiveness, making things right, it all ties in together, and Zadkiel can help you work through some of those processes. It's not always easy. By any means, it's not always easy, but he can help you understand the reasons and a better way to sort the process, so to speak. So, Zadkiel is part of the choir of angels called the Dominions. He holds a very high position, and thankfully, with his position, his authority, and his powerful state of energy, he is on the side of mercy and love. So he spreads compassion. He spreads peace. He's the one that can help you intercede when you're really, and this is going to sound weird, but when you're really beating yourself up for something minor. Let's say you cracked a joke that maybe wasn't in the best of humor, and everyone was like, really? You went there? Cool. And then that little voice in the back of your head is like, oh, look at you. No one likes you. You always say the dumbest thing. I cannot believe you just cracked that joke. They are never going to talk to you again. They're never going to invite you over. Oh my OMG type thing. And you have that little voice that's just like wearing you down at that point. Zadkiel can step in and be like, whoa, cool it, Cupcake. It wasn't that big of a deal. It's over. Let it go. And that little voice can yap, 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 and he's going to put his hand gently over that voice's mouth and be like, no more. Enough is enough. It was fill in the blank badly timed joke. It's not that big of a deal. No one is offended or hurt by it. They're a little confused by it, but not whatever. Let it go. You're not carrying this forward. It doesn't make any sense to carry it forward. So that's that mercy. That's that grace. That's that love. He wants you to understand there's not a mistake you've made that's going to stop you from reconnecting with Source unless you choose to not reconnect. That's on you at that point, but he's going to help you at any point if you're willing to turn that around and reconnect to your spiritual side. If you see Zadkiel in a physical form, and some people see angels in physical form, others don't. I always tend to see them in a more physical state in meditation. Or more human state, I should say. Zadkiel tends to show up in a light blue robe, think robin egg blue, and sapphire blue wings. So his wings are this deep, majestic, shimmering blue, but his clothing tends to be that really light robin egg type blue, that noon of midsummer sky, that really light, powerful blue. He carries with him a white standard in Michael's army. And when I first read this, I was like, why is he carrying the standard of surrender? And it's not. White also is the standard for peace. So when he is working with his brother in arms, Michael, he's actually there to help broker peace. He doesn't want to see battle. It's not his thing. Now, don't get me wrong. If he decides to get fired up, move. But he wants to be peaceful. He doesn't want to deal with that part of life. He'd rather be, how can we make this better for all parties involved? It might show up a little bit different for you, but that's kind of the standard way he shows up. And since he's under Michael's guidance, which is interesting because Michael's an archangel, and Zadkiel is a dominion, which is, they're not on the same playing field. But he does show up with Michael in the hosts of heaven, in like the army version of it. He tends to stand next to Jophiel, which we've already talked about, Jophiel or Eophiel. So you get a little bit of this idea of the balance that he works with. And when he is in that particular state, you will see him with his white-handled dagger, but it's not used for anything but cutting away that which does not serve. That which is a distraction, cutting away the shame, the guilt, the things that really you don't need to be carrying, and it's a way to like kind of clean out a wound. You have to cut out sometimes we won't go gross, but you have to cut out parts that are not healthy so that the proper healing can occur. This, when you're talking about a white-handled dagger, well, I mentioned before, if you study Wicca, it's called the Boline or Boline. This particular this particular weapon or blade is used to create, chop, or basically carve candles, things like that. This is the tool that you actually apply to the physical. That's why I say it's to cut away the stuff that's not working, or it's to engrave a candle with the symbols. This is the type of knife you would use for that. He's not all about fighting, but if he decides that it's time to step up, being in his particular choir, that means when he steps up, the heavens tremble. He's not someone to be trifled with. And he tries not to ever have to go that route. His weapon generally is used for creative and artistic purposes, not for destruction. If you only see the aura, which a lot of people I know only can see the energy field around the angel, Zadkiel may appear as a blue wavy type energy, or even a light purple energy. Think something along the lines of a really pale lilac. That's your purple. And when I talk about a blue wavy energy, when you look out across a highway when you're driving and you see in the distance that heat signature on the asphalt, now apply the color of really light blue to that, and that's generally when you only see Zadkiel in an energy field. That's the way it would show up. Same thing with the purple, the lilac, it will show up in that same wavy energy. It's not, it makes you feel at peace to see it. It's very calming. So he's one of those ones on the same playing field kind of as Archangel Camiel, where you're just, when he shows up, it's always in a really positive environment. You don't really feel a lot of intensity. He can be intense, do not get me wrong. But most of the time it's in more comforting aspects that Zadkiel steps forward. This angel is one of the most benevolent of the angels. All the angels are, good, kind, wonderful, all that stuff. But a lot of the times when you think benevolence, you will go to Camiel, you'll go to Gabriel, in the traditional sense, not so much the Hollywood version. But Zadkiel is right on that level where it's just so much gentle, loving energy that comes through with him. He holds forgiveness in his highest of regards. And this angel carries tolerance for those who may think differently. It doesn't mean he agrees at all, but he is going to help you come to see his way of thinking, and his way is the way of your higher self and the divine. There's times in life when you will struggle with this, and I'm not saying that to be mean, I'm not saying this to be rude. There are times when we as humans will get this idea in our minds of this is how it has to be, and he's going to come to you and be like, maybe there's a better option. No, this is the only way. I have to, you cross your arms and stomp your foot. This is how it's going to be. But what if this? What if you continue on that path and you fall over the edge, fall over a cliff? That won't happen because this is how it's supposed to be. But you're missing this aspect. You're not seeing all the details here. You're looking at one version of what you're looking at, and you're missing a huge chunk of it because you're purposely ignoring it. And he's going to be very persuasive, and it's not going to be pushy. It's just more of, okay, if you want to do that, that's fine, but this is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to play out. And that can change how you view the situation. And a lot of times, not always, you'll adjust because you're starting to see the bigger picture. Because the angels all see it from a bigger picture. Some of them are going to be a little bit more aggressive about, listen here. Zadkiel is going to be like, what about this? It's going to be very much more conversational, much more gentle, basically helping you understand if you choose to do fill in the blank. These are the consequences. These are the things you're not seeing right now. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going along with Zadkiel. So Zadkiel, it's said, his compassion is matched only by his benevolence. It is massive. He sees the best in life and wants to help you see the best in life as well. He can help us view others with that same compassion that he sees us with, versus, ego-driven, judgmental. We all have that. I don't care who you are. And the ego is a necessary tool to exist in this particular level of life that we're in. But it's a tool that in a lot of everyday life we've become so subconscious to that tool now is driving the bus. It needs to be in the back where it belongs. Call it forward when you need it, but put it back and leave it there the rest of the time. So this is something that Zadkiel can help process and work through, is knowing when your ego judgment is coming forward versus seeing compassion for a situation. and they're very different. And when you've experienced one versus the other in your personal life, where someone's compassionate, they're coming to you because they care and they're bringing a situation to your attention, versus someone coming to you being judgmental about something that you're doing, it's different. And he wants you to understand this is a better path, is to show the compassion. And if someone rejects it, know how to walk away with grace, which is not always easy either. Finding balance and harmony are his thing. And with that, we'll look at one of the tarot cards in my Archangel Angel Tarot deck by Radley Valentine. It's number 14, and it is the balance. That's Zadkiel's energy. It's very delicate, very powerful. This particular card says the need for balance, moderation, cooperation, and compromise, waiting for perfect timing. If Zadkiel's showing up, it's because something is ready to bloom, or something is a little out of balance and needs a little bit of adjusting to help it stabilize. So you've got a lot of that type of energy coming forward. He may be the angel under the element of air. Justified. But in reality, he brings all elements into balance. And with all four elements brought into balance, the fifth element can exist, which is the element of spirit, the ether. And we're not talking about God, source, divine, that always exists, but we're talking like in a metaphysical sense here. So if you're troubled, something is bothering you, bring your energy or emotions down. Something that's just kind of weighing on you. You're not sure why, you can't figure out what the problem is. We've all had this situation at one point in our lives. Here lately, it's been on mine. So when you have those situations, and that's with my day job, it's not to do with this part of my life, Zadkiel can come in and help support you. Zadkiel's joy and peace can help you see things in a clearer way and uplift the energy. And I can speak from experience, especially, like I said, the last few weeks my day job's been a little bit interesting. But when you start to tap into these angel energies, you can handle things a lot more gently than what you normally would have. And it doesn't mean that you're weak. When you're peaceful, it means that you choose peace because you understand violence or aggression. Zadkiel wants you to understand that the peaceful way is generally the better way. There's times for the other, that's never off the table, but this is the preferred way of dealing with things. It is said that he really wants to support children and teens when they are dealing with those heavy energies. So if you have a teen who's dealing with some big issues, changes in life, changes in school, emotional stuff, asking God, source, divine to send Zadkiel to support them is a really powerful way to support the youth. There's some some statues and some sigils that I'm putting in the description. You can check those out. And those can be things that they can wear to help support them as well, or you can wear them or have them around, because Zadkiel's energy is very soothing in that respect. So it's good to have with those, we'll use the term angsty emotions that pop up, especially during those teenage years. You might add him to your list of tools when you're working with teens if you're in that type of a situation as well. So I'm going to show you this next card and give you a little idea on it, and then we're going to move into this next set, because this kind of is an interesting side of Zadkiel. Compassion, balance, love, forgiveness. We've talked about all that. But Zadkiel's other attribute is solutions. It's the same number card as balance, which I believe is temperance in the standard tarot. But this one is called solutions. Success comes from objective compromises, self-control and patience, forgiving and healing energies. So this is another aspect of Zadkiel, is he wants to help you find solutions to the problems, to find ways around or through a situation in the least chaotic way. He can help you in working through forgiveness, as I mentioned before. If this is something that's hard, and I'm gonna poke a finger a little bit at the men. If you've wronged someone and you want to seek forgiveness, saying you're sorry is really hard for us boys. Zadkiel can actually help. It's not a sign of weakness to say you're sorry. It actually shows great strength and great fortitude to be able to say I did something wrong. That being said, the same applies to the fair sex as well. You can throw the word I forgive around or I'm sorry really easy. But when you say you're sorry or you're forgiving somebody, this is where Zadkiel comes in to be like, then you cannot bring it up later. Not pointing like that one. We're pointing fingers at both. Men learn how to say sorry. Women, don't bring it back up. When it's over, it's over. That's something that Zadkiel wants you to understand. Because when you forgive, when you release, when you work through a situation and you're in your heart, you are done with it, the compassionate thing is, it's over. We don't need to bring that back up. We sought the forgiveness, we sought the balance, and this is the result. Zadkiel wants to keep things harmonious, and to do that, you let things go once you have resolved the situation. There's no value in bringing those things back forward. Now, if it's a mutual thing where you can laugh about it, that's a little different, but it's not something to be used in a negative sense anymore, because let it go. And like I said, with the men, don't bottle it up. Seek out the forgiveness, offer the apology, work through the situation. And as I've said before in this video, and I'll say it in other videos too, to take the path of peace, you have to understand violence. When you take the path of peace, it's not a sign of weakness. It is, I choose this because I understand that. That is very different way of looking at peace. Side tangent here for a second. If you ever start studying the philosophy, especially of the Shaolin version of martial arts, it's very beautiful, it's very fluid. They have a stance of non-violence. It does not mean that they do not ever result in violence or devolve to violence. They have a stance of non-violence. But they practice a violent, quote-unquote, art form. It's because I will not introduce violence, but if it comes to me, I will put it down. That's the path of peace, is knowing that you can, but preferring to not go that route. So that's that part where people have kind of misconstrued that. It's not weakness to be peaceful. It is actually saying, no, I understand the other side, I'm choosing this. If you choose to go the other way, then it's on you, not on me. So, back to Zadkiel. There are some theories that state that this angel is the one who held back Abraham's hand when he was going to sacrifice his only son. And that was Zadkiel's one that caught his hand and said no. There's some sources that say Michael, but Zadkiel is under the direction of Michael. Both could be true at the same time. Zadkiel does not want to deal with violence. As I said before, he can. That's not his preference. He'd rather be peaceful. And so holding back Abraham's hand is 100% within his wheelhouse. Zadkiel can be seen as one of the angels of the violet ray, the ray of spiritual enlightenment. Oh, so now we're tying him to Archangel Metatron too. I love this. This ray is the ray of agape love. This is the ray of forgiveness, the purest energy of mercy and forgiveness. These energies lead to the most powerful form of freedom. It's not something that I think any one human being is ever going to experience in their life. You'll get moments of it, which is beautiful. But at this particular point in time, I don't know if we'll ever be able to sit at that level and stay there. We'll achieve it, but we're going to float back down because, life happens. So this is something to strive towards, and working with Zadkiel is a great way to start to elevate to that frequency. When you are touching the violet ray, This is where we release all the denser or lower frequencies or energies or whatever. They just fade off. They cannot be in that frequency. This can lead to connecting to the violet flame of transmutation as well, because you're transmuting those negative energies into something beautiful, into something amazing. They always talk about, turn your tragedy into art. That's what this ray does. It takes all of the things that you may not like about yourself, the depression, the anxiety, the, oh, well, look at me, no one will love me, I'm overweight. So, make it something beautiful. Work it into something. If you don't like an aspect of yourself, you can always work through a process to improve it. And that's what the transmutation is talking about, is taking something that's lower, that's denser, that vibrates at a lower frequency and elevating it. So you're bringing it into that higher state of compassion, love, and mercy. Zadkiel can help change things into their purest forms, much like alchemy. So if you're a student of the alchemical process, Zadkiel is a great angel to work with in that respect. So, going back to his solutions energy, Zadkiel can help you with your memory if you are studying or learning something new. He can help you retain the information gained. And I thought this was interesting, considering he's all about this particular vein of thought, but then this is another big aspect of what he does. He can help us with our day-to-day jobs, remembering the steps, working through situations, being more friendly and upbeat, but also the peacemaker if something comes up. His energy can help you release the negative blinders that we like to put on ourselves, allowing us to see our true potential. And when I say negative blinders, we're our own worst critics. Because when we look at ourselves, we see every flaw, imagined or real, and that blinds us from our potential. That blinds us from being able to grow into what we truly are. And I'm not talking in an ego sense, I'm talking in a spiritual sense, because like The Secret and some of these other shows talk about, we are a divine spark. We're stardust. We are the breath of the Creator, if you go with the Christian beliefs. There's no reason for us to feel dirty or unworthy. Are there things that we can improve? 100%. But does that mean that we're not worthy to be loved by the Creator? Not at all. Zadkiel can help us see that our value is as a spiritual being is so far beyond what we think in our physical forms, that why are we feeling like that? There's no reason, logically, from the angel's standpoint, for us to see ourselves in that state. So, with that, we'll kind of wrap up here. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you've worked with Zadkiel, let me know what your thoughts are if you feel comfortable sharing. And, let the group actually, all of those who watch. Because it's an interesting angel. It's not one that you see too many times. This video went a little bit longer. And there's parts of this video, and I'm saying, honestly, that are a little more interesting than others. Just because of Zadkiel, when he comes in, is like, listen, we're going to have the bullet points, but we're going to elaborate over here because things need to be brought forward. So there is no offense or anything intended with anything that was said. It's just that's how he wants us to understand. We put things on ourselves. We put blinders. We put beliefs into our own field. Or we've been taught this is how you have to act because this is how it is to be a man, or this is how it is to be a woman. Those are fine, but also understand that the strength comes from understanding that and moving beyond it. The strength comes from understanding that, learning the lesson, taking the value, and discarding the negative aspects of it. You can still be a strong, empowered person and be compassionate and peaceful. Understanding that there's another side, that if you need to, you can go that route, but that's not the preferred route, and that is the last resort. And that's the energy that Zadkiel wants to really emphasize. So, with that, I'll let you guys go. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you in the next video. If you have any suggestions for other angels, I have a list myself, but you can always drop those in the comments below and let me know, and I will talk to you guys later.